Can people see you right there? I think they can actually see you right there. Okay, you're gonna stay right there, okay? Good girl. You're gonna stay this time. All right, we're not gonna wander through the pansies this time. Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the Sunday garden question and answer video that I do on Sundays. I didn't think I was gonna be able to get this one done because I'm out of town as you're watching this. And again, same thing may happen next Sunday. I don't know if I'll get that video done or not, but there is a giveaway attached to this video that I'm excited about. For those of you who don't know, I always link down below all the videos that I do, consultations, and you can sign up for a consultation, again, from a link below the video. I'm going to give away a free consultation for a comment made down below this video. I'll talk more about it at the end of the video, but so I'm excited, giving away my time to hopefully help someone with their landscape via a Zoom call. And also on my website, I've added gift cards, which are the exact same amount as the consultation. So if you happen to want to give someone a consultation, you just give them, you purchase a gift card, and then they can use the gift card to, when they sign up for a consultation, there's a code that they can apply, and so hopefully it works perfect. It's brand new. I've sold one already, and I hope it went well for that person. I hope so anyway. So anyway, free consultation to someone. Make a comment down below the video, and it can be a question for next week's video. Got a ton of great questions last week, and I will not get to all of them. If I don't get a lot of questions on this week, I'll go back and pull from those. But thanks everyone for participating. Couple more things real quick. I didn't get the second Dur video up. I will the first of the week. I shot 2 videos at Adcock's Nursery, one with a good friend of mine named Sean Gherkin. I think you guys will really like that video. Nursery production stuff in it. It should be fun. Wasn't able to shoot the rain garden video. That project got delayed, and so I'm working with a landscaper and a landscape designer on filming one of their projects. They do amazing projects, and so I will get that done. It's just all 3 of us, have to have the right timing, but there will be a rain garden video with them at some point. And I have 2 more bulb videos to put up, so you'll see all that in the next upcoming days. I think that's 5 videos I have shot that hopefully I'll get them edited and up right in a row. That's enough talking. Okay, so let's get to some questions. Somebody asked me about a hedgerow video. They just wanted to, I've got a lot of screening plant videos on the channel, and you can go to my playlist called Screening Plants, and there's some where I've walked around and shown lots of screening plants. There's videos where there's a series of 3 videos where I did 10 screening plants in each video, so it's 30 total screening plants. And one of the 2 Adcock's videos I shot today, actually, is when I'm filming this on a Friday, by the way. I shot a screening plant video today there. You'll see that in the next few days. Their nursery is surrounded by houses, and so they had a lot of screening plants around it, so I was able to shoot all those at once. So that's coming up in the next few days. So that's screening plant video. Somebody asked about the mahogany splendor hibiscus back here, that it's gone, the purple that was along the fence. Yeah, I got a 25-degree night, knocked it back, and so I went ahead and cut it to the ground. Come here. We're not gonna explore the whole garden today. So I went ahead and cut it to the ground. I do those from seed, and so I'm gonna just put them right back next year. So they lasted 7 months, and and we're a nice screen back there, but gone for the winter time. Okay, somebody bought 3 Radiance abelia. This is Miss Lemon abelia here over my right shoulder. They bought 3. One is bigger than the others. Wanted to know how to go about dealing with that, and ask about pruning. Yeah, you can prune that larger one in the late winter to slow it down a bit for the other 2 to catch up if you want to. That would be the time to do it. Abelia can be pruned in the late winter. It blooms on new growth during the summer and early fall, so won't hurt it pruning it in the wintertime if you need to hold one back. Somebody asked me if I have borders around my garden. Okay, Holly, come here, come on. Going. Okay, all right. I don't know what I don't know what's up with her recently. She has decided that the pansies, she didn't walk in the other annual beds during the season. I mean, she'd walk through and around, around stuff, but with the pansy, she's just brutal for some reason. I have no idea why. So anyway, she's inside now. Somebody asked me if I have borders around, between the lawn and the beds and that kind of thing. I don't. I just use a trench edge. I've shown it many times. I've done videos about trench edging. And I just like a natural transition from the lawn to the beds. But that's not for everybody, and that's the beauty of gardening. Some people would want a concrete border. Some people would want a stone edge around this. Some folks would want a little maybe seeding wall around part of this lawn back here to create some sort of division, maybe a mortared brick edge. I mean, there's so many things, plastic edging, steel edging, so many different things that each person can express a garden with, have their own, express themselves in that garden. I just like everything to look natural. So there's just stones and living things back here and mulch. And so that's the only thing I want anybody to really see back here. Obviously there's buildings and houses and things like that, but you know what I mean? There's, I just like it to look very natural. That's the thing when I put up tour videos. It's always a few comments down below every tour video. Oh, this is terrible. This would never be for me. And that's kind of the point of all my tour videos is I'm trying to pick different ones. I understand that if I show a really super formal garden, I did one over here in Cameron Park in Raleigh about 2 years ago. I showed a formal garden, and that video had, some comments about, it's just not their style or whatever. That's kind of the point of that's the reason I do lots of these, is because everybody has there are thousands and thousands of plants and thousands and billions of ways to lay them out in your landscape, and using different materials, either natural or, plastics or whatever, to create landscapes. And so I say, you do you. I will say that this natural edge I can take my weed eater, which I have an electric, battery-powered weed eater, that I go around and edge this zoysia grass to prevent it from running into my beds. And I do it every single time I mow. And I can do it. I've gotten so good at it over 30 years that I can just literally walk with that weed eater at about my regular walking speed. Do the front yard, do the backyard, and I'm done. I think it's a much easier maintenance just in general. But again, you do you. Okay, somebody asked me about dividing, when to divide lilies. I don't know if they were talking about daylilies or what type of lilies. Now, so a lot of your perennial plants like daylilies and hosta, the ones that have been hit hard by a freeze and have gone dormant, but you can still see where they are, this is a good time to pop them out of the ground, chop them with a shovel, and replant them. If you wait too long, it's kind of hard to find them. So it might actually be a slightly better time to do it in February after the threat of cold, but it's so much easier right now because you can see them, by February, they've retreated completely under the ground and you'll be fishing around with a shovel. I guess you could mark them right now, but honestly, any perennial that you want to divide, it's hardy in your area, that's very hardy. Don't do this with marginal perennials. But if it's a very hardy perennial like a daylily, hosta, that kind of thing, pop it out of the ground, cut it with a shovel, plant it in 2 spots, or give one to your neighbor. It's super, super easy. I mentioned the rain garden video. That is Griffin barking, if you can hear him. Somebody asked will pruning the height of an apricot tree affect production? No, I mean, if you go to a fruit farm, they have to control the heights on them so that they can actually pick the produce. And so you don't affect it. How you prune it and the timing of pruning it definitely can affect it. So again, I never go into a lot of detail on pruning fruit because it can be very regional. And so I would check with, again, I think I mentioned it last week, with the extension agent in your area, find out if there's fruit tree pruning instructional meeting sometime during the year somewhere in your county where you live, and you can learn a lot that way. But if you go to any fruit farm, I mean, I was out in Arizona, New Mexico last year, and they grow, most pecans you eat come from out there. And they've got the trees, I've got a pecan across the street here that's 65, 70 feet tall. Out there where they're actually growing them for production, they're no more than 15, 18 feet tall. So they are, it doesn't matter what kind of fruit or nut production it is, they're controlling the heights of the trees. But again, there is timing related things and technique. Timing and technique matter. Okay, let's see. Oh, somebody asked me, they got a windy a space that's winds blowing constantly. They have some allium bulbs. They were wondering, but their full sun space is very windy. They have another space where they would be protected, but it gets shade. I think you'd be better off planting them in the wind. You go to England and, there's alliums, growing like crazy there, and it's, open, windy spaces. So I don't think your plants that come up and are exposed to wind are very able to deal with it. So keep that in mind. A lot of times, we'll plant a tree that was grown in a nursery and they were grown a foot apart, and then you take them home and put them in the ground and they bend over in the wind. That won't happen if that tree had just germinated from the ground, or was a seedling in the ground and had grown up. It would have been used to the wind and it would have bent with it over the years and been fine. I think you'll be surprised how well those alliums will do in an open, windy space if they're allowed to come up in it. If you grew them somewhere else and took them out to the wind, again, they would just flop right over. Hope that makes sense. Okay, somebody asked about, they had heard putting a log in a raised bed would help save soil. So just a big wooden piece underneath your bed so you can save soil. Wanted to know if that was the same as like burying wood in the ground. Would it become anaerobic? Not as much so in a raised bed. It's not something I would do. In general, I get the concept, obviously, of doing that, but it will rot and it will get funky. Especially if it's something you're having to irrigate a lot. If you were growing vegetables on top of that and you were irrigating it quite a bit during the summertime, I think that wood would get funky under there. I don't know if it'd have any negative impact on the things that are up above it, but just in general, it's not something I would do. I mean, burying wood in the ground takes away light, takes away air that would help it break down, and then, like I say, it can get anaerobic and get funky. But in a raised bed, I would imagine it's very different than, deep in the soil. So maybe it works great. I just never tried it. Okay. Somebody asked me if I was running my drip irrigation in the wintertime, how I was irrigating during the winter. I don't generally here in Raleigh have to do a lot of ongoing irrigation. My drip irrigation is unplugged over there, but it's been super dry, and this is my current irrigation system. So drip irrigation's not hooked up, but I have had to run this. The lawn, this is just laying on the lawn. As soon as I finish this video, I need to water out here. I have never gone into December, I don't think. I always have to water something. There's always a container. There's always something that needs watering, but I don't think I've ever done very much general watering going into December, and that's still what I'm having to do. Probably every 5 days or so. We got super dry air. It just has not rained. Our lakes are dropping. I see our ponds in the nurseries are low. Kind of amazing. I hope we get out of this before we go into spring, or we're going to go into next year with a big time water deficit here in the central Atlantic. I don't know what you guys have going on, but here in the central Atlantic, it's dry. But right now I'm just turning on a sprinkler and just, as much pressure as I can and as much space as I can cover at one time, I'm watering for about 35 or 40 minutes once a week right now, and I would like to just put it away. I mean, normally I wouldn't have to do that. Okay. Somebody had watched my old video with my light rack system that's in the house. You can go back and watch that video. I have 4 shelves where I start my seeds. 2 of the lights were LEDs and 2 of them were fluorescents. And they wanted to know, I never did a follow-up video on which ones I like more. I definitely like the fluorescents more. My LEDs, There are better LEDs than I bought. So I'm certainly not going to say they're better than all LEDs. But those fluorescent lights, when I only have like 2 or 3 flats of things that I'm doing at the time, I'm only using the fluorescents. I tend to germinate things under the fluorescents. They also add some heat. And then I'll move them to the LEDs, and I will start other ones under the fluorescent. And then they wanted to know if I could see a difference in my power bill, and I can't. Basically the whole month of February and March, I'm running those lights about 12 hours a day, and I really don't see that big of a difference, but I will say I have gas heat, and so my electric bill tends to be less in the winter anyway, just because I run electric air conditioning, but gas heat. So my electric, again, I don't really see any difference in my electric bill. If it is, it's a few dollars over the course of the month, but it's 2 fluorescent lights. The LEDs are probably burning virtually nothing, but okay. Somebody asked if they had missed the flagstone paver installation video. No, you have not. They're still not all in the ground out there. I have filmed myself burying some of them, and so some portion of that path out there is finished, but you haven't missed anything. I just haven't gotten to some of that heavier work out here. Just busy this year. Somebody asked about preventing insects and just general pest in the garden. And I will tell you that obviously I can't, rabbits are rabbits, you either have to trap them, shoot them, hope that birds get them, a neighbor's cat, whatever. We have a big rabbit population here in the spring, and then as the summer goes on, you'll see them just disappear. I mean, I don't have many right now, but in the spring there's a gazillion of them again. But we have coyotes in the city. We have, again, cats, and I've got owls that are back here. I wish you guys would hear them sometimes. I'm never lucky enough to be on this camera when those owls are going off. So there's predators here. I can't do anything about them. I have 2 deer that are living back here behind me that you wouldn't think here in an urban area I would have. I haven't really had any issues from them, but they are here. But all the other little insect things that were in this question, the whiteflies and the aphids and the lace bugs and all of those things, I have to tell you that I don't have a lot of those issues. I am inviting everything into this landscape. By that I mean good, bad, and ugly insects alike. I don't care. They balance themselves out quite well. And I do not push my plants. The best way to have aphids is to push your plants. And I mean fertilizing a lot. If you've got containers, doesn't matter, but there are a lot of YouTube videos about fertilizing your containers once a week with this fertilizer and that fertilizer. If you want aphids, that's the way to go about it. You want spider mites, you want you want a lot of those things. I don't push my plants. My plants are slow and steady. I fertilized once with a slow release fertilizer, and I'm not getting rid of all these leaves that are out here because a lot of beneficial insects are in there. I told you that. I said that in last week's video. And so, will I have problems? Maybe, but I haven't yet. I've got a good balance going out here. And I promise you the best way to disturb that balance is to really push your plants. It weakens them and makes them extremely vulnerable. And that tons and tons of new growth is just where the aphids like to be. Plants that are really super susceptible to insect issues, I typically don't plant. And ones that I know, like azaleas, that might get lace bug issues regardless of my perfect balance that I'm talking about, I don't have them tucked up against the house. So, where the wind, a breeze will help with some of these issues. Camellia scale, I've got a camellia up against the house over here. My guess is I can flip those leaves over and find some camellia scale. The ones out here at the building, probably not so much because the wind is on them. So there's that too. Their placement is an issue. But again, don't push your plants. Fertilize them, once a year with a slow release fertilizer, with an organic fertilizer, and keep the ground covered in mulch, and just let your plants just do their thing. And you'll see less insect problems overall. That is my experience. They can't do anything about it in the nursery business. When I had my nursery, I was spraying all the time because we put 500 of the same thing 12 inches apart and pushed them like crazy with fertilizer. So we had every kind of insect problem. That was where I started to learn that, why is it, that every group of plants in a nursery situation is getting all of these problems, and it really is having a monoculture, having too many of the same thing, and you guys know I've have one of everything instead of, or maybe 5 of something, but I have one of everything, and I'm not pushing them. Those two things combined. Okay, I'm talking too much today. That's what happens when I film late in the day. I get too wordy, I think. Somebody asked about eliminating tree of heaven as a noxious weed. It's just coming up all over their yard. This landscape was full of noxious weeds 18, 19 months ago, and I buried them in the wood chips, and then I buried them in the mulch several times, and I'm still dealing with them. The only way to eliminate noxious weeds is constant attention. And so, put it on your list. Put it on your list. It belongs on a list, just like paying your electric bill. Go out and chop down suckers and liriope and mondo grass and ivy and whatever it is that's a noxious weed for you in a space that you're taking over. You have to keep at it, and if you keep at it, you'll have less and less and less and less over some period of time. I've got ivy on trees back here in the woods behind me, so it's going to be dropping seeds in here. I'll continue to have it, but I've got it. I'm at a control level now, but it's taken me a long time. But the only way to control those things, again, you got to just keep doing it. If you allow any, like ligustrum, elaeagnus, any kind of noxious weeds to come up and spend any time up above the ground, that gives them energy. So when you chop them off, they're able to come back. So keep at them as soon as you see them. And that's the way. You're never going to control them 100%. There is no answer in which all of them disappear forever and ever. But once a month I walk through here. I've got some other pretty nasty noxious weeds that came with this. Few that have actually come back out in this lawn, unfortunately. And it's just something I got to stay on top of. And I always will. But the more you stay on top of it, the less you'll have to put into it each month. Okay, and then last question for this week. And again, there were more, and I'll pick up some of those next week in all likelihood. Somebody asked about cutting back, when to cut back their irises. And this would be true with any perennials. Once they're completely browned out and died back, you can cut them back. I did include in the December video, if you have things like Rudbeckia and anything that you might want to collect the seeds on. The seeds are on top of a lot of those perennial things right now. But once they've completely died back to the ground, that's when you can go in there and clean them up. I wouldn't do it before then. Let them pull that energy back down into the ground. But once they're brown, go and cut them off. Cut them off with a sharp tool near the ground, and you may want to actually bring some, throw some leaves on top of them or some, or remulch that area or whatever while it's clean. That's an easy time to remulch it. So anyway, that's it. Again, any comment down below this video, whether it's a question or whether it's a, hey Jim, love your videos are terrible. I don't really care it doesn't matter what the comment is. We'll register you to win a free consultation. I'll pick a winner either this next week if I have a question and answer, or the week after that if I don't. And we'll schedule your consultation with the winner at that point. Again, I put the gift card thing over on my website. I'll link that down below if you want to give the gift of Jim boring somebody for 50 minutes or hopefully helping somebody for 50 minutes. Thank you guys for watching the videos and following along and engaging.